In the last couple of lessons, we've progressively got more confident at allocating materials using the Rhino native material editor. We've done that via the Layers Manager, which would be the typical pathway. That way we can go back into the Layers Manager and edit it through that avenue in the future. Or alternatively, when we've got a lot of geometry on the single layer, we've also learned how to allocate materials via the Objects Properties box. In order to assist us, we've also managed to allocate materials via the match command in both the Objects Properties box and the material editor under the manager. So you can see this little match command here. In this lesson, we're going to become a little bit more familiar with some additional attributes in the native material editor, and we're going to allocate the materials to the top section of the mobile traffic light. So we can switch on the warning light and the cams at this stage, and we'll be working on them in this lesson. So we'll just flick off the cams for the moment. Okay, we open up the warning light tree, and our first material we're going to allocate via the layer manager, yep. Left click on the material column for that relevant section, and we're going to sample the color via the pull down menu, left click, and we'll scroll down and simply take the hazard base. Now we want to progressively change the colors as we move up. So in this particular case, we're going to do it as we did in the past. We're going to make a copy of that color, and then we're going to change the name. So we'll just call it, let's see, we've got the warning light, so our prefix is WL, yellow base. We can just delete the end of that, and we're just going to make the color just slightly darker. We can do it by eye on the color selector down here so we can see the difference. Keep it nice and rich. There we go, that looks good. Click OK. Alternatively, we can also do it via, if we have a color specification, by either hue, saturation and value, or red, green, blue designations. Okay, we'll click OK. Also on this particular one, we're going to change the gloss levels. So we're just going to move those gloss levels up to about 30%. So we'll just move that up. That will do fine. And click OK, and you'll notice that color is now allocated, and it's just slightly darker than the central post. Similarly, we're going to do the light face now. So left click on the editor. This time we'll do it by match. So we'll just click match. So similar pathways to the same result. So in this particular case, we'll just cancel that. We'll match again, and we're going to zoom in, change it to shaded. That way we've clicked the right one, and we'll click duplicate, and this time it's warning light again, WL, amber face. We can delete the end of that, delete, and again we're just going to change the gloss levels right up to about 40% this time. We'll match that with reflectivity to the same levels. Excellent. Click OK, pan out, check our result simply by right-clicking on perspective and changing it to rendered mode, and you can see it's transparent in there. So we'll just turn off that light face. Now we need to do the light inside. So again, since it's the only item on that layer, we'll do it via the layer manager. So we'll just click on the lamp section, and this time we'll do the pull down, scroll down, you'll see amber light there. There we go, amber light, and we'll duplicate WL, just in case if we individually wish to edit these lights at a later stage. We've got the option of either keeping everything on the same layer or the same material, or in this particular case, my feeling would be is we'd be changing that warning light separate from the amber light, so we're making a duplicate. Again, we'll just leave that color as is. Click OK, you can see it on there. We'll turn back on our light face. So there's our top section done. Now we can turn on the cams. We're going to activate our bracket, so click on the warning line on the material line on the material column in order to bring up that material. we're going to do it from the pull down menu. So if we just scroll down slowly, we should be able to see warning light yellow base. That will do. That's perfect. Okay, and we're going to do it via duplicate. So it's cam yellow base. That's fine. We'll make that darker again. And in this particular case, let's just make that a little bit richer. There we go. That's a little bit darker. Okay. So when we click that off, we should be able to see a difference between those three surface finishes. You'll also notice at this stage there's just a slight discrepancy. One of those lenses needs to be switched across. We'll just check the other side, make sure everything is on the same layer. So we're just going to grab all of those lenses, make sure they're put on the cam's lens layer. So we just left click on cam lens and change object layer. You should see the color change. There we go. Now we're going to do the body of the camera. So left click. Okay, we'll take that sample from the light unit cans. So we'll just scroll down to the cans. There we go. Light unit cans. We're going to apply that as a duplicate material. So duplicate, and it's cans, cam, body. Now on the camera body, even though we're going to be looking at this from a distance, it's a worthwhile exercise at this point to understand how to apply bitmap. So we can apply it to the color, the transparency, the bump, or the environment. In this particular case, we want to put a slight bump on the camera body. So we're just going to click to assign, and then under the reference files tab, you're going to click on the textured sample A. So just a little bit of grunge texture on there. Open up. Now, in order to adjust that texture slightly as we require, we just want to make that slightly more dense on the material. So we're just going to left click on that. And under the repeat tab, we're going to increase that mapping 10 by 10. Click OK. And the other thing we want to do is the intensity of that bitmap will set down to about 50%. There we go. Click OK. And you can see on screen there that that bitmap has now been applied to the material. And the last item we need to look at this stage will be the lenses. So again, we'll apply that material via the Layers Manager. So left click on the material column. We'll make a fresh material this time. So cam lenses. We're going to apply the material on this occasion, rather than applying it by eye, where we can just spin to an appropriate location. We're assuming that a color specification has been supplied, so we're going to put that in as RGB. So 55, tab 65, tab 40. Click OK. Check that. We can see that as a dark greenish color on screen there. Now we're going to also change the other variables, so you can see that we're progressively getting more versatility when we're working in the standard editor now. So we're just going to increase the gloss finish to 70. We'll increase the reflectivity to match. Just take that down a smidge. There we go. And the transparency we'll set to 40%. Okay. And there's 40%. The other item we'll do is, in order to give a sense that it's actually reflecting from, we can click on the Environment tab and apply a map onto that surface. So it'll be reflecting a particular bitmap. So this bitmap we're going to use is Sky Sample. Click it to open. And we're going to change the intensity of that to 80%. Click OK. There we go. And we've now dug a little bit deeper in this lesson by being able to now apply materials with additional bitmaps that gives us a little bit more versatility when we're using the native material editor in Rhino. Okay, we're just going to pause there for a moment to show you the resultant rendering. So this is still a preliminary stage. We're not using our final rendering engine, but you can see how the colours are beginning to play out. We've got that hazard yellow colour on the post. We've got some tiering of tones on the head section there, and you can see the colour applied to the lens faces on the webcam, the body of the cam, and the warning light that's occurring at the top. In the next lesson, we're going to become a little bit more familiar with a couple more controls on the Rhino material editor, and we're going to be applying finishes to the logo area.